Well, good morning. Well, it's morning for me anyway. So, we have got the new 465-9 and we're going to be running it on Southeastern high speed. But first up, welcome to anyone who's watching this, whether now or later on. If you're watching on Twitch, the video will be uploaded to YouTube. In fact, it's streaming on YouTube now as well. And I have chat running on both. So we'll see how this goes. Now, before we get into the train itself, first up, let's hop into Settings, Controls, and Advanced Controls, because I want to show you that it's going to work with Raildriver. In fact, no great surprise. Here's one I prepared earlier. I've had my Raildriver since the early 2000s. If you don't have one and you love train sims, I certainly recommend it. Very, very good for immersion. Now, there's some new control usage in here. I haven't tried the alerter yet, but I notice it's on alerter/DSD reset, which is where the other trains were when they didn't work. The other trains, like the 395, have now been updated to use gamepad reset safety systems, which sadly still doesn't work. But that's okay. They're getting somewhere, they're trying stuff, that's all good. The Raildriver is a beta after all. There are some... Well, there's a new control in here. This particular train, the 465/9, has a cruise control facility. Morning, Sagir. How are you? Thanks for joining in. And it has a cruise control facility, and they're using the independent brake lever for that. That's this one, which if you were driving something like an AC-44,000, you'd probably find this fairly familiar. Cool. Don't know where that little bing came from, but there we go. That's okay. They've got the wipers and the headlights the right way around on this train, which is awesome. On some of them are backwards, and in the worst case, the wipers actually does both, which is kind of funny. They've also had doing a new experiment on the door buttons. So we've got a left-hand all release, just labelled all release, but I have checked it is only the left-hand doors. And we've got the right-hand doors, again labelled all release. And both of these buttons seem to close the doors on both sides. So that's new. We also have the pause menu on the top. Ooh, I actually might have got that wrong, you know, because I think, yes. I'll have to take back the technical report I put into Dovetail, because I told them that the pause map button was actually activating the pause menu, but silly me has actually got these labels I made the wrong way round. So I better fix that. Oops. I'll better pop into the forums and fix that right after this stream. Otherwise, people are going to laugh at me even more than they usually do. And that's okay. We all make mistakes. But anyway, we have pause and master switch there. They're in the previous trains. Engine startup is the same. Warning devices enabled. That's been on the other trains on this line, but not the other trains around. DRA is new to this one. Let me just grab the slips from the last one. Just got to sort these out because I've got from TS 2021 and Run 8 and all sorts of stuff up here. So it is kind of annoying. You have to keep changing these strips. So the one labelled DRA and this one on the other trains on this line is enable signals. We've got AWS reset, which is new. That's blank on the other trains. Then we have a blank one. There's two buttons labelled SDO. Now, I don't know what SDO is. I asked in the chat. Good morning, Michael. How are you? I asked in the official stream what SDO was, but it unfortunately didn't get an answer. It probably scrolled by before Sam saw it. I know he doesn't answer all questions, but that one should have been easy enough. Toggling the HUD and the camera controls, they're all the same as the other trains. Down on the bottom row, we have our route map button, which, as per normal, does nothing. We have the schedule screen, that's the same as the others. This is the same. And our signalling system enabled has come down here now. Traction isolation is a new one. Hazard lights, another new one. A blank. And I'm guessing that maybe these are strange, because why do you need rear door release when you've got door releases over here? So we'll try and find out what they do. And then we've got our cab light gauge lights. They were on the top row before. And we've got a couple and an uncouple button. So let's get into it. If you've never calibrated a Raildriver before, I might just do that. Late afternoon for you, Michael. Excellent. I'm in Melbourne in Australia, so it's 9:15 in the morning here. Normally, being a Friday, I'd be at work, but I took the day off to play with this, so there you go. It's even an official day off. If you've never seen a calibration before, I'll just quickly run through it, and I hope I don't mess it up. So it doesn't calibrate these, but it calibrates everything to the right of that. And you have a look at what it wants you to do. So it wants me to pull the reverser all the way down, and then you have to do accept, then go into the middle and accept, and then up to the top and accept. Now that's simple enough. Now the next one, you've got to be a little bit careful, because the Raildriver, the pot they use in this one's horrible, and it drifts. So it wants me to do the very bottom of it. But what I do is I go down to the bottom, and then I go back just a tiny bit until I see the line move. Come on. There we go. And I'm going to set it there as being my full throttle. Otherwise, you can't get full throttle. Now, we go back into the first notch, and I tend to put that just up against the thing. It sort of suggests you want to go over here, but I find that changes the pot. So we'll accept that. Now, logically, you'd go here next, but no, it actually wants you to go all the way to the top. So, and the spring pushes that back a little bit. So that's like what I did manually before. And now we'll come back into the zero braking position. Okay. Put that back into neutral. Now this one is the main brake. So interestingly, it's got separate brakes on this one because it's using a power handle. So we'll play with this and see what it does. But anyway, and up to the continuous service position if you're for an American train, but not for these ones. And then into emergency. Now we're setting the independent. It's got 4 calibration points left, and then bail off. And I'm going to have to fix the non-slip mat under my Raildriver after this stream because it's slipping. Now we have to do the switches. So it wants me to be in the left position, which I am. Then in the center position. I'll try and do this so you can see what I'm doing. And then we go back and do the other switches. Word to the wise, that has shifted slightly in the picture, so I'll just fix that. Okay, the word to the wise, set this one back to 0 before you calibrate this one, because they seem to interfere with each other. I'm sure Pi Engineering is enjoying that we have all of this nice new train simulation things using their gear. So let's jump out of there. Into Southeastern High Speed, into Explore, and we'll have a look at the new scenarios, but I'm not going to play them today because I want to learn about the train first. So there's a new one for extended service, which just tells us to take it between Rochester and Faversham, filling in, so you're just a fill-in driver, I guess. Temporary contract, so it's an extra service. And an empty evening. So we're just taking the last stops of the evening and then shutting it down in the depot. They're actually quite fun. I like those ones that head off into the depot. Interestingly, a lot of people report that there's not many passengers on these trains. I drove some just before and there were some passengers. So it seems to depend on what service you get. And Michael, you're in Canada, 2 p.m, so it's just after lunch. Excellent. I know where Sagir is, but he might like to tell us, just so everyone knows. We've got someone else who's joined in too. You're welcome to say hello in the chat, whoever you are, mysterious person. Anyway, let's go and have a look at the timetable. Now, interestingly, there's 2 liveries for the beast, but they're the same. And all it seems to do is switch between the routes. Now, it is available for the livery editor. A few people asked that on the stream. I'm awful with the livery editor, so excuse me if I don't show you. But anyway, there are 2, so let's just continue into the timetables. And let's just pick a random one, because we're just going to go and have a look at the train for starters. And Michael says that the rear door release does not work. So We'll have to figure out what that actually is, or what it's meant to be, maybe. Okay, so to get started, master switch, and then we have to get into forward, and that should be enough to open the doors. Appears that way. Okay, so let's just... I haven't got any of those things set, so we should be able to get up. Now, why did that move? That's interesting. Okay, so let's get out of the chair, have a look around in the cab. Why don't we put our light on? Can't. Okay, there we go. So, we've got some additional buttons. That's a bit glary, isn't it? You can also use the B key on the keyboard when you're sitting in the driver's chair to do that. What's this one? And we can turn off part of the signalling system. We can do that in the Raildriver as well. One of the very cool things about changing my monitor, I don't know how well it shows up in the video, but I can now actually read these things since getting a new monitor with decent frame sync. My other one was designed for video and graphics, so wasn't brilliant for other things. We will have a look at the emergency brake, and we'll see how to get out of that. I saw Sam do it on the other stream, so we'll just have to see if we can do that. So we probably want to turn on some heat and some lights and things like that. Train heat off. Train lights, we probably want them on, don't we? Tail lights are off. Headlights are off. So let's turn the headlights on for a start. Oh, that's probably only going to work when I'm sitting down, isn't it? Let's sit down. Well, something happened outside. There we go. We have train lights. Let's go out and have a look. So we do have... Oop, didn't really mean to close the doors, but that's okay, because they're using these buttons for different things. I keep forgetting that. I'm used to using them to look around the outside of the train. But typical of where Dovetail have gone with lighting, this is a fairly poor light. I accept on the English trains that people tell us that it is a fairly poor light in reality. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Apparently it's 20 minutes to midnight in Lagos, Nigeria. So having a late one, Sigir. You're younger than me. I'd fall asleep. But I actually find I'm a little bit disappointed with the headlights in Train Sim World. I accept that the English ones, they say they're for markers and they don't tell you where you're going. Well, you know, these guys do drive at night. Surely they want to see where they're going. But if you look at the American trains, those headlights are huge. They definitely light up the universe. But in Train Sim World, they don't. The other novel thing is the chat sounds. You can't use that for this either now. That's interesting. In the previous incarnations of Raildriver, you could still cruise around when you were outside the train. So the chat sounds, it would be okay if it was this loud up here, where there's lots of people. But damn where we were. But that's okay. That's all good. But anyway, let's turn on. I think it's... Yeah, the regen brake I think is actually already on, because the light's not saying it's off. Or if I turn this off again. I have turned this off again. Let's get back in the chair. And turn it back on. Okay. Now, so the regen braking is on. That's important because down here we've got the speed set, which you can use the mouse if you want to. There's probably keyboard shortcuts for it too, but I haven't looked. But you can also use the independent brake handle on the Raildriver to set that. So our speed limit here is actually 50, so let's just set it to that, and we'll go with that first. You can see on the speedo there, it's now showing 50. And to make it go, all you do is literally stick the thing in notch 4 and off you go. And it'll do it by itself. Now apparently we've got a 30 zone in the station, so let's bring it back to 30. Even though it's... Oh, it's a 50 zone in 100 yards, yep. Okay. My mistake. So how is the weather in Canada and Lagos today? Melbourne's kind of grey and drizzly at the moment, which is funny because we're only 2 days out of summer, or a few days out of summer, I should say. Now, it does make a weird noise when it gets to the set speed. And if I put the screen there, it doesn't seem to do it at 30 miles an hour, but if you set it at 15 miles an hour, it's it's kind of funny what happens. So I'm going to drop it back down to 15. And it'll slow itself down. And this is why you have to turn on the regenerative braking, because it uses that to slow it down. What I noticed when I was doing my play drive before is that it seems to bounce. Hopefully it'll do it again. So we're almost down to 15 now. And I don't know if it's coming across in the stream video. That might not be enough resolution. But you can feel how it's surging. And it makes the viewpoint that you're looking at sort of bounce a little bit. And it kind of gives me a little bit of motion sickness, which is kind of funny. But anyway, let's crank it up to, I think, let's go for 50. That seems to be a good guess at the speed limit. So the next thing I want to have a go, grey and rainy in Canada. Yep. Well, you guys are in winter, so I guess it should be for you, but actually not in winter anymore, eh? You'd be in spring. But we've just come out of summer and come into autumn, or fall, depending on how you look at it. Dry and dusty in Nigeria with 32 degrees. I can't say I'm overly surprised at that, Sagir. It's a little bit normal for you. So, the next thing that I think I'd like to have a try is let's just whack the emergency brake and see what happens. So, emergency brake's now on. We can see the speed coming down. And the brake cylinder pressure's dropped to 0, so it's using both brakes. It's using regen and the other brakes. And now it's... Well, interestingly, it's... Okay, I'm slightly confused about what that gauge just did, but that's okay. So, what Sam did to get out of this... But I'm going to try something different. I'm going to release the emergency brake up there. Now, will it just let me drive? So it's releasing the brakes? Yeah, it will. So, okay, that emergency brake just releases like that, so that's fine. What if I do it with the handle? So back into emergency. Same situation. Now, if we just pull it out, do we need to do anything, or can we just drive? Looks like we can just drive, so I like that, because some of the other trains, like the Javelin, that one just beeps at you and yells at you, and the German trains are just utterly annoying. Alright, so that's good. That's quite good for driving on this one. Is there anything you guys want to see on this train, or are you just happy to just tag along and just do whatever I do? Because at the moment I'm thinking I'll just head into the next platform. Our speed's gone up, so... Now you can't go higher than 75 on the speed set, because max speed for this train is 75 miles an hour. So you can certainly drive it faster than that, but you have to use the throttle. And it's the difference between a rated speed and a line speed, I guess. Excuse me, having a cup of tea. The speed, I don't know if you can see it or not properly. Let me just turn this light off for a moment. Hopefully you can see the speed on the Raildriver is showing. The camera angle's not great. I keep trying to find a better way to do that camera so that you can still see my hands on the controls, but that it shows the Raildriver a little bit better. So interestingly, I set the speed set for 75. Oh, it's a 70 zone. Let's pull it back just a little and let that come back down. Let's have a look outside and listen to what this sounds like. Let's see what it sounds like when it's slowing down. The speed set doesn't work when you're outside the cab. How about that? Okay, let's go back in. In fact, it's... Oh, I know what's wrong. I betcha. Oh no, that's still on. That's interesting. So the speed set, it would seem, has stopped working. So let's just do it the hard way. But I'm going to go back outside again, and let's see what it sounds like when it's slowing down. there went one of the other trains, the 475, I think, from memory, 495, whatever it is. No, it's just a 3, isn't it? It's a 3 something. English trains. So the sound is quite good. It's interesting that that control doesn't work when you're outside. How about the horn? Well, that's decently loud. I've got my game sound turned down a little bit so that you can hear me more than the game. If you'd like me to turn it up a bit, just let me know. That sounds remarkably like an American electric train. Probably because it's got German motors, just like the American ones do. So if you've ridden the New York subway, or you've ridden the Long Island Railroad, or you've ridden BART, the newer BART trains, or you've ridden the newer Melbourne trains, they sound like this. So I think the sound's quite good in there. Let's just head back into the cab. Now I'm going to turn the speed set back on and hopefully it will. No, it's not actually working. That's interesting. Maybe if I go back to 0 and now try it. No, so the speed set has actually died. Alright, cool. Let's just leave it running with a bit of slow speed. Are we supposed to stop at a station? We are, very soon. This thing seems to have fairly good brakes. In fact, it's going to stop short if I leave it like that. 375, thanks Michael. I knew it was a 3 something. Oop. Love the people that ran out past the yellow line. So it does have pretty good brakes. That's a fairly good stopping rate. And I like the way it sounds like a Formula 1 car gearing up. So I don't have the safety systems on, so we can go for a wander. Hi there. So first class seats. Uh-oh, might fall out the door. Well, this one's in the platform at least. Let's go have a look. In fact, let's run. I want to get into the other cab. I suspect it's exactly the same, but let's have a look. That sounds nice. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. So, I'm not going to press any buttons in here because that's just asking for trouble, really. But it seems to be quite nicely modelled. You can read the labels on things. These fire extinguishers, of course, have never been checked. That's sad, isn't it? Now, let's just shut that. Let's wander back through the train. Can we open the door on this side? Oh, we can. Okay, they're obviously not interlocked. That's interesting. Lots and lots and lots of passengers. Someone on the stream said that they weren't getting any passengers, and this is the 3rd one I've driven, and it certainly seems to have plenty of passengers. As per usual with Dovetail, they are all the same passengers. You know, don't you love these people? I don't want anybody to sit next to me, so I'll sit on the outside. They're what you call wankers. Can we open the dunny? No. Few less people in this one. Interesting electrical noises you can hear in the cabin. Now, someone did ask in the stream whether these rotate, and you can actually fairly clearly see that they're not going to, because, no, I don't want to give up the service, because it's not modelled as a circle. It's just sitting there. It's a texture. So, no, they're not going to rotate. I would guess, because I know that the Dovetail guys, Matt and Sam, seemed to think that that should work. It probably got modelled out. So we've got windows that open and close. I wonder if you can you drive this one with the door open? A lot of these you can't. So let's just close our doors. Will it close this one? No. Will it let me drive? There's an interesting question. You can drive with the doors open. Excellent. Let's open that one too. Just because we can. Well, that made it a bit louder, didn't it? It really does sound like an F1 car, doesn't it? Still no speed set? No, not doing anything. Is that a bug or is that something I turned off? Good question. Oh, we're slowing down. Maybe the speed set did do something. It is. It's working again. So you all saw that wasn't working before, and now is, didn't you? Yep, wheel slip, powerful beast. How much do you think I'm annoying the train's computer? Oh, come on, find the 70 spot. There we go. That's what we want. My Raildriver's moved again, I think. Let me just put it back into the right spot. So I really need to get a non-slip mat under there. It's sitting on a glass table, and it's sitting on a mouse mat, but it's balanced on the two parts of the table. Horn sounds pretty good in the tunnel. You can also do that on keyboard, of course, with the B and the N keys. So we've got 1.5 miles near enough to Strood. It's still very dark in the tunnel, isn't it? See, I'd expect that headlight to do just a little bit better than that. I really would. It's almost black. And it's only lighting up the wall. There's no lighting at all down on the ground in front of us down here. There's just almost nothing. You can just see tiny highlights in the ballast. So surely as a train driver you'd want to see a bit more than that. Let's keep that in view. And we want to drop down to 15 mile an hour. So let's bring the speed set down to that and let's see if it manages it. No, it's not doing a thing. Alright, turn off the speed set. And we better do some braking because we must have a turnout if we're going down to 15. So the speed set is somewhat unreliable is what I'm seeing. I think I will have to submit this video, or part of this video anyway. I'll rip out a little piece of it and just send that in and just see what they think. Because if it's happening to me, it's probably happening to other people as well. So, I know 15 was just a little bit early, but better safe than sorry. Now, if this was America, we'd do this. Because they honk at everything. It's quite a curve, this one. Is there anything about this train you'd like to see? It's interesting how people always tell me that Twitch is more successful than YouTube. But over on Twitch, I have got 2 watchers on Twitch. And I've got 3, 4 now on YouTube. So, getting interaction on YouTube, not getting any interaction on Twitch. So if there's anything you'd like to see, please feel free to ask in the chat. One of these days I might set up something a bit more interesting, like a way for you to talk back to me. Maybe I should just pay attention and drive the train, huh? I do like the way that sounds. It is quite cool. Oh, that's something I wanted to look at that I'd forgotten about. What does it say on the front? Alright, let's get the doors open. Can you open the doors before the train stops? Yes, you can. That's interesting. Anyway, let's go have a look at the front. Building, building, building. Well, that is where we're going. So yeah, that works. What about if we come in here? What does that say? Well, that agrees too. So there we go. And it says that it's at 11:01, so we're late. That's okay. I'm always late because I spend way too much time mucking around. I'll use the shortcut to get back into the cab of Control 0. That's interesting that it went back to the outside camera with that. Alright. We are in the same cab because the doors are open, but it's turned itself off. How interesting. Why did it turn itself off? Anyway, it's back on now, so we can go. Actually, at the next station. Thanks, Sagir. Have a good night, mate. We have no power. We still have brakes, but we have no power. What's happening here? Are we not in forward? In reverse? Forward? There we go. I think it got confused. Who knows what's happening there, though. Oh, let's head off down through this diverging route. I'd be curious if anyone who's ridden these trains for real, if they experience this much wheel squeal, because it seems to be a lot. Speeding a bit, but whatever. How close to the sub can we get? Not very is the answer. Oh well, back to the train. We're here to watch trains. Let's sit in the middle and hope another train doesn't come. So we're stopping shortly. Very shortly, in fact. There's another train. Oh, we're getting squashed. That's kind of funny. Bit of gentle braking. I think that sign would have hurt if you're flying along there in reality. Near enough. So, seems to work pretty well. Is there anything about the train that people would like to look at? Actually, let's try and answer one question. Let's turn on warning devices. No, that's sad. They haven't made the alert button on the Raildriver work properly. I vaguely suspect that the QA team don't have access to a Raildriver. Oh, we've turned off again. We've gone into neutral. Did I bump that? Don't know. Didn't feel like I bumped it, but maybe I did. Here's the platform that's not a platform. And I'm obviously paying adequate attention to my train. Not. Probably get in trouble for that. In a real railway. Lots and lots of 30s. Another dark tunnel. Actually, the lights are off again, aren't they? Oh, look at that. I turned the lights off and they're now on night running. That's interesting. Yeah, there's another train up there. So this is a little bit better with the lights now that they're on night running, even though I turned them off. I guess it's just another artifact of the Raildriver. It doesn't seem to read the pots. It seems to read that you changed the switch, not what the switch is actually set to. Programming choices, I suppose. I had to use the Q key there, because... Actually, we'll give it a try next time it goes off, but I have a faint suspicion that it won't work for the alerter. Coming into Chatham. And our F1 car has stopped. Are these trains still in use today? There's an interesting question. I'll have to find that out. Okay, bell button does that. Sand button does what you'd expect. This should be... No, there's nothing on that one. What did they put on here? Nothing. And we know what emergency stop's going to do. I suppose let's find out if emergency stop does do what we think it's going to do. There's a good thing to try. Let it move off a little bit and hit the button. So if you pull it down... So pushing it up... Okay, it's a toggle. So it's push up to put it on. That goes into the brake. And push up again seems to release it. That makes sense. That makes it a bit like the button, I guess. Green signal. We'll go down to this Gillingham one and then I'll stop this service and we'll grab one of the Gillingham depot services. It's speeding up even though it says I'm going uphill, so I think they're No, now it's slowing down on the hill. It was speeding up before. Full Fang. Let's see if the other buttons are working. So there's turning the HUD on and off, that's working. First person camera, which is where we are now. Front and rear cam, that may not be working because we're in a tunnel. Let's just wait till we're out of a tunnel and see. Now I know I'm slowing down, I'm not paying much attention to the speed because I want to see if these keys work or not. I want to see what they do. I'll give it a little bit of when we're going to get there. Come on, let me out of the tunnel. Wait till the whole train's out. Alert for the green there. Okay, so these do work. So that's the equivalent of the 2. That's put me into the other cab. That's the one labelled previous cab. That would make a certain amount of sense, wouldn't it? But look where it put me. It put me on the floor instead of in the driver's seat. Okay. So that just jumps back and forth because now I'm back here again. I'm probably supposed to stop here, aren't I? I'm not driving again because it's turned me off again. But it is stopping me at least. Well, that's interesting. I don't have my controls anymore. So what are we doing, train? So the controls are kind of working. They're just not doing what you'd expect. Well, that's a bit buggy. So if you jump cabs, it's now kind of munted. So let's just go outside and come back in. Will this give us... Or are we sitting in the rear cab? No, we're sitting in the rear cab. That's what's wrong. Okay. Let's try. That's put us in the front cab. So let's... Can we get in the chair? That's why my controls aren't working. Okay. Let's go into reverse. And back into that station. Or not. No, because we're not releasing the brakes. Has our master switch turned off? Alright, switch it off. Does seem to have a few issues, this train, doesn't it? Just a few. No, it's still not releasing the brakes. Alright, let's try put it into neutral and turn it off. I can't turn my master key off from here, so let's turn it off. And I can't turn it off from there either. That's interesting. So effectively we've got this train into a state that we can't drive it. Alright then. I guess that's where this service ends. That's a bit boring. Okay. So let's go back out of here. And let's go and have a look at one of the depot services. So I now know, don't jump cabs, because that does bad things. And that's okay. Now let's just go and find a depot service. I think there's one right down near the end of the services. Or is that in the other livery perhaps? Oh, here we go. Gillingham to Gillingham Depot. That'll do it. That will be fine. So I'll run this one. Let's put some headlights on, which aren't doing anything because I haven't switched on the train. Doing well. Alright, train's on. And see, headlights on, headlights off. That's backwards, guys. Very much backwards. Okay. We've got our sort of green signal up there. Let's use the little speed set thing. So I need to turn on the regenerative brakes to make that work. This will just save me looking after the speed going into the yard. And let's have a quick look. Normally the dispatcher sends you into the right place in the yard, so it... yes, it is, I think. Looks like it. Or is it? No, it's not, because we want to go down there. Let's just go back to the train. I'm just going to stop this thing, because I want to have a look at that. So that one's was not set right, because it wants me to go into that track. And that's going to put me in on top of that train, which we don't want to do. There we go. Now we're right. Okay. Good thing I had a look. Now let's try the speed set again. Is that going to work? It is. I'm going to have to keep playing with the speed set because it makes me think that maybe I wasn't in notch 4, because I think it only works in notch 4. Let's try. Yeah. Maybe I wasn't in notch 4 when it wasn't working before. But the speed set's pretty handy for coming into yards, because keeping the beastie at a low speed is always fun. At least the lights seem to work a little bit better now we know the switch is backwards. Now, is this one of the ones that's going to put it away down here, or is this one of the ones where we have to back up and go somewhere else? We'll find out in a moment. So we can look at the task, I guess. It's doing that bounciness I was talking about before when you've got the speed set at 15 where it accelerates and brakes and accelerates and brakes. But it is working. Now, I could have sworn that I set those points differently to this, and we're now running through a set of points. Did I get one of them wrong? I think so. But we'll go down the end here and we'll stop. And we'll see if this finishes the scenario. And if it does, great. And if it doesn't, we'll have to have a look and go back and put it back in the right place. Yeah, I think I am on the wrong track because I don't think I can go 10 yards further on. I think I will hit the buffers, so I'm pretty sure I'm on the wrong track. Yep, definitely. Okay, now let's just go back to the map. What did we end up doing? So we want to be down in here, and somehow we ended up over there. So that point is set for there. That one's set there. Now I could have sworn that we changed those. Okay. Let's just run it back out again where we came from. Let's get rid of the map. And reverse. Do English trains honk 3 times to go backwards? I know we do. And normally you'd go back down to the other end of the train, because you wouldn't normally do this unless you had someone who was helping you. Because you can't see squat. Of course we can, being a simulator, we can cheat. We can go out here. Hey look, there's passengers in there again. There wasn't before when we left the station. Bit of train surfing. Looks like I had that double slip that we're just going over now set wrong. Alright, let's go back on the map so we know when we've passed all of these points, which will appear to be now. Can I use my controls in the map? I can. Good. Let's try that. Okay, back in the cab. Whoops. I was clever. No one saw that. Didn't do it. It's probably not very good for the traction motors to do that, is it? Are we going to go down the right track this time? Yes. See, I can understand that wheel squeal in here, because going through points or switches or turnouts or whatever it is you'd like to call them in your region of the world is usually a bit tight, especially in yards. There's passengers sitting on that train that's in the dark too. That's kind of funny as well. Yeah, I think it's a common thing, Michael. It's the kind of thing you look around and go, no one saw me. We are on the right track this time. It would help if I had the stop markers turned on, I suppose. It's funny that I turn those off, but I keep the HUD on. Have you got the 465, Michael, or you're thinking of buying it? Or is it the 495? Did I just get that wrong? You know, I have to do this just to see what happens. I want to see if it bounces off or goes through them. Hit them a bit slow and we'll see. Bonk. There we go. Oh, I got a gold medal for that. That was awful. I went to the wrong track and it still gave me a gold medal. Okay, that's fine. Is there anything that you would like to do? And glad you've got the train. Are you enjoying it, Michael? Actually, even though I'm bad at the livery editor, I want to see what it looks like in there and see if it does actually work, I guess. It'll be right down here. There it is. Create new. Test 1. Edit. It's not completely blank. We make a match special. There we go. That's a bit messed the way it works, isn't it? Layers. Shape. Let's do a square shape and I'll just cover the whole train. You can tell I don't do this much, can't you? Wow, this is about the most awful design ever. So, how do I make it bigger? Alright then. Now we want to go to Alright, so we've done that one. Now if I go, do I have to go back? No, it didn't do it. Okay. Because I didn't hit the place button, did I? Alright. Place. There we go. Good. Copy to other cars. This car. Copy to other cars. That one's already got it. Copy to other cars. You just have to make a pink train, don't you? Okay. So how do I tell it I want to go to the other car? There's got to be a way to do it, surely. This car. No. So now at least it's going to be full size. Okay. Look, it's half pink. So I need to make this bit pink too, do I? Alright then. Is the whole train pink now? No, we've still got some more. So I didn't need to do shapes, I could have just used paint, couldn't I? No, it's still on that car. How do I change cars? Ah, okay. I'm silly. Paint. That colour. Good. Confirm that. Next car. Paint. That colour. Confirm. Next car. Paint that colour. Confirm. Now, do we have to do the other side? That's a question. How do I spin him around to see? Maybe not. Alright. So that's saved in theory. Yes. Let's go see what a pink train looks like. Hello, Max. Welcome. So can I just drive it now? No. So I have to go back into the scenario planner, I'm guessing. Fortunately, I had one here before. So let's add a new service. We'll just add a new one. Let's call it pink. We're really imaginative, aren't we? Confirm. Add. Yeah, let's go from Gillingham. From the start marker. Go to Gravesend, why not? And we'll stop everywhere. Okay, confirming the service. Now we need the 4659. And we want that. Pink service. And it wants to be a passenger service. 12 o'clock, that'll do. Okay. Now I should just be able to drive that now, I think. Pink. Alright, let's see the pink train go. Still got 2 people watching in Twitch, but no questions over there. A little bit of interaction over here on YouTube. I really appreciate that, guys. Thank you. Oh, now we've got to go outside. Excellent. Let's find a nice spot. So it's half pink, half purple. I guess that's because it's in the shade. Do a screenshot. Why not? Okay, let's wake him up. Master switch. Bring it into forward. Huh. Okay, headlights work this time. What about wipers? They work? Seem to. Good. Let's unlock our doors. Go outside and watch our passengers get in and out to their pink train. How is Grey St Kilda this morning, Max? Live wires, excellent. I think we need to sit outside this train to watch it leave, don't we? Strange stare, people. Alright, let's close the doors. Nah, too bad, mate, you missed out. Should have walked quicker. Oh, he got it anyway. How did he get in through a shut door? And away we go. Oops, I don't have the regen braking on, so I can't use speed set. Back into the cab of our pink train. Let's turn on that so we can use the brake speed set. And full bore. Now let's watch our train go by. What's not to like about a pink train? I know someone that'll amuse greatly. So, up to 50 mile an hour. And a warning for an upcoming 30. Yes, Matt would like this train. And I like the particular pink bit. That's kind of funny. Pity we can't see it in a tunnel, huh? And look, our lights are off again. Let's try turning them off. Does turning them off work? Oh, look at that. Oh, I get it. So they've done night running on the left switch, off on the middle, day on the right. You know, that kind of makes sense. I'll give them that. It kind of makes sense. And we can actually see some stuff in here. Look at that. Alright, I'll stop whining about lights. They're better than I thought they were. So is this where our mythical 30 starts? Oh, it's a 35 in fact. Even though the HUD says 30. It's interesting because the HUD thinks that it's 50 mile an hour here, yet that sign back on the signal did quite clearly say 35. That's okay. It's a bit like Long Island Railroad with the ATC. That doesn't make any sense either, but you just do what it says. Let's have a look at this go by again. Here's our 30 zone. We're almost coming into Chatham, so I'll pop outside again when we get out of the tunnels, or the bridges. And a 23 for Charles, who's not watching. Yeah, that's true, Michael. Yeah, it probably is for freight. You're probably right. That would make sense, wouldn't it? So, power off. Let's watch it here and brake really hard. Do you reckon it's going to stop? Oh, it stopped in the platform. Get a shot of our mythical people not getting out, not getting in. Anyone going to get on? Nah. Not a sausage. Well, maybe a last-minute contender. No, the yellow line's got her confused. No one wants to go to Gravesend. Yeah, I think I'm used to our setup where we don't actually distinguish. There's a track limit, but the driver has to know what is the safe speed for his or her service. So let's pop back outside again and let's come over this side so we can see it is actually pink and watch it leave and listen to it. So grab a screenshot because I can, and I'll shut up now and I'll just make it drive. Well, that worked. Back in another tunnel. Oddly enough, I'll be on a real train tomorrow. A little tiny one anyway. It's a high rail vehicle. Doing a track inspection for the Puffing Wheelie Railway where I volunteer. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, and that'll be exciting. And we are going straight through the station that's not a station. It's a bit of deja vu, isn't it? We've been here before. I checked out this station on Google and apparently they moved it. So the other station is the new one. This is the old one. Seems weird to move something a few hundred metres, but there you go. Governments do strange things when they have money to spend. I guess I should be getting ready to stop here, shouldn't I? Should we watch ourselves come in? Why not? Just a moment. It does brake quite nicely, this train. Actually, let's open the doors before we've stopped, because... No, it didn't open them. So it knows we've got them open, but it didn't open them before I stopped. That's good. That means you can use the tricks. Hello. This is people getting on this time. Welcome to Rochester. Doesn't say where we're going though. Probably because it's not a service. Maybe these things don't work when you're not a service. do a bit of manual driving this time. Should I watch where I'm going, maybe? Let's get squashed by a train. It's very purple on this side. It's very sensitive, that little lever. Coming up on the very exciting Strood. Feels like I've been here 50 times today, but I'm sure it's only about 10. I might have been playing while the official stream was on, maybe. I wouldn't do that, surely I'd pay attention. I'm sad there's no 465 AI services, because I'd want to see this pink train turn up in services. But we never will. I think it's mean that such a short train has to go all the way to the end of the platform. It makes all those people walk so far. So they have to walk from all the way down there. Oh, well, we'll run this through to its last point. And then call it a day for this stream. I think we could get a fairly nice matte style screenshot here. Actually, let's put the fence in it. Why not? It's going to throw me back in the train soon because it's going to go in a tunnel. I saw an interesting video on YouTube of testing that kind of buffer stop to see how effective it was. It's very effective. Are we allowed to go fast yet? No. Let's enable some beepy things. Just for the hell of it. Is there anything more exciting than 15 mile an hour in a tunnel? Cruising, cruising. So Max, do you think metro trains should be this colour? You know, actually we don't have to do 15 mile an hour, do we? I just looked at the speed limit. We can do lots more. I'm silly. That woke it up. I was just thinking I should go back and see what this sounds like as a passenger, but of course I've turned on the beepy thing, so I can't, because the train will stop. That's a bloody long tunnel, isn't it? Yes, my speed has gone up. You're correct, Michael. There's a bit of a delay between what happens in the chat and what's happening in reality. There's about a 10-second delay from me to going on to YouTube, about 15 seconds going on to Twitch. And when you type something into the chat, there's about another 10 seconds before it comes back to me. And we're coming up on a station, so we should probably start slowing down anyway. It's gone off again. So I didn't do something wrong. Oh no, it came back then. No, it's dead. Alright. It's interesting how it just dies. Bing. Obviously another popular station. Actually, I'm going to turn off the BB things, if I can from here. Yep, I can. Good. And I will... try and do this. So can we see the doors? Wrong door, train. That's not what I want to see. No, you're making it hard. Okay. Now, let's see what it sounds like as a passenger. Let's see if the speed set will work. It's kind of loud as a passenger, isn't it? Let's see what it sounds like stopping as a passenger. You know, if they're really this loud, that would be quite uncomfortable, I suspect. Alright, let's go back to the cab, where it's a bit quieter, a bit more peaceful. 4 miles to our last stop of Gravesend. My wife's sitting over there playing her game, going, why is he streaming? It's not streaming day. Yes, it might be a bug, Michael. I kind of think that's quite possible. It's a good set of yards here, perhaps for some future freight services that aren't available yet. It would be good to add some more variety to the services. Looks like sheep over there. Come back. That water looks a bit manky, doesn't it? Definitely sheep. Actually, yeah, you're right, Michael. I just realised there are freight services on here because I can select those locos, but I never do because they don't work with Raildriver. So I tend to ignore them, but that doesn't mean they're not there. The speed set thing's struggling a little bit, bouncing back and forth. Yeah, it's supposedly all coming to the preserved collection things, and in theory will work on all new releases. I asked Rivet if their Arosa line's going to work with it, and they said, of course, why wouldn't it? Dovetail do that. Which I didn't think was quite accurate, and that might explain why the Isle of Wight mostly works, but not quite. Ooh, I should slow down, shouldn't I? Come on, train, do it. Into the double yellow. I probably should have slowed down a little bit before this because I'm going just a little bit quick and it doesn't show any signs of slowing down, to be honest with you. I think the speed set's a little bit wonky. I was hoping just to drive in on the speed set, but no, that's okay. I'll have to put in some videos of the wonkiness. Is this one of those stations where you drive into a brick wall? That's the end of our made-up service. I think I'm being carried along by a person. That's kind of funny. There you go. Smile. Portrait time. And that, I think, will be the end of the stream for today, because I need a little bit of a nature break. So thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure having you all here, and it's been awesome to interact with some people today. I hope you enjoyed watching. I'll be streaming this service, or not this specific service, but this train again on Sunday morning, 9 a.m. at my time. That's Melbourne in Australia, which is currently Australian Eastern Daylight Time, GMT plus 11. So I'll have a closer look at what services are available, and I'm going to make some videos about the tutorials and pop those up, and we'll go from there. No, I shouldn't get a medal for this because it's my little scenario planner service. Yep, as expected. Cool. Well, thank you very much, folks. Enjoy yourselves, and I will see you on the next one on Sunday morning if you care to join me. Thanks. Bye now.